Shalom, Ori. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Moris?
Very good. I'm very happy that we meet after a few years that we spent some time at the GTIIT. What do you remember as a good feeling, something special that you remember from GTIIT since then until now?
Well, I'd say that the first thing that comes to my mind is the very good time that me and my family spent together during the 2 years that we were at the campus. We enjoyed the existence there very, very much. The children learned in a local school that was built for us. My wife worked at the university. I worked firstly as a teacher and then as the dean of undergraduate studies. And we had a fantastic time. We are still missing that time today. And also my feeling of accomplishment, of being able to be a part of the first team that actually created the university, started the university. And when I think in retrospect about it today and I see how the university is running today, I feel a great sense of accomplishment. So what about you, Moris? What do you think?
My relationships with the GTIIT start eventually in 2015, even when they just started the building, when we were as a joint project together with Shantou University. Yeah. And I went to visit there like twice, 3 times, and we started a little bit about the building of the labs and how we're gonna do that. You remember we met because I took a sabbatical time at GT in March. In 2018, you were already with your family there, and your wife Agar, and I started in the sabbatical to build my own lab there. It's a wonderful place that I eventually enjoy every time, every day, and until now I have my lab there. I have my co-workers, my students, my postdocs, and now I am serving for GTIIT. I'm serving as the Pro-Vice-Chancellor for academic affairs there.
So Moris, can you say in a few words why in your mind it would be beneficial for a young staff member finishing his postdoc anywhere in the world to come to GT as a staff member?
I think GT is a wonderful opportunity for a new faculty member. And sometimes it's even better than to go to an old university to start a career. Because we are able to give him something that sometimes an old university will not be able to give it. We give him more than just money, which is good, research facilities, which are excellent. We give him the possibility to get his dream.
All right, and tell me, what about in your view, is the difference between GTIIT being a Chinese university that is also in collaboration with a Western university and other Chinese universities in the way they operate? We talked before about the fact that the young staff members are completely independent from the beginning, but can you say anything about other changes that are there?
Yes, I think it's a very good question, because as a Western university, we work fully as a Western entity. So in Chinese university, you have what is called the big professor, and then you have under him few associate professors. And under that, you have the assistant professor. And under that, you have the students. So eventually, it works in a pyramid way. We don't have that. Mm-hmm. So every professor, even if he's an associate professor, he is his own pyramid. So we don't have that problem. And since we have eventually the titles, the undergraduate studies is with the syllabus of the Technion, and the graduate program is within the Technion, and the diplomas are Technion. So we keep the Western university all the way through until also for faculty, for graduate students, and for undergraduate students.
May I add to that, maybe that the quality of the teaching is monitored continuously by the Technion heads of departments, and therefore we maintain the same quality. And if you took, for example, a student that graduated from GTIIT and you looked at his overall grade and you compare it to a Technion graduate, basically it's the same thing. So if somebody gets an 85 as an average, you can compare him or her to a student's graduate, to a Technion's graduate, and they would be basically at the same level.
What you just say is totally correct, because I have a master student that she finished chemical engineer and she did some courses over there, and it's called the polymer course. And then she came here and I told her to go to do the polymer one, and then she said, no, I already did that. And when she went to polymer two, she knew exactly what's going on. So it's exactly the same syllabus, and we're very happy because her level was excellent. So I think we are doing a great job over there regarding also faculties and regarding undergraduate and graduate students, which is a good program for us.
I think also we should emphasize the fact that at GTIIT, such as in Technion and other Western universities, a staff member is completely independent, as opposed to what happens in many universities in China. At GTIIT, you are independent from the first second.
And I will say even more. For example, we don't have at the moment a position of assistant professor. So we only have position of associate professor and full professor. So even if you start with the lower level, which is going to be associate professor, independent. And we expect you to be independent, because that's the only way that really we can know what's going on in your research and your development for being a great scientist in the future. So maybe I should say something which I think is remarkable. Because for a master's student, he needs to have a co-mentor. So it's a mentor from GTIIT and a mentor from the Technion. So for a master's student, he needs to be here at least 6 months. So eventually he learns procedures that maybe they are not fully aware there. And for a PhD, it's 1 year here.
Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for them.
Okay, and also for us.
Yes.
All right, so Moris, in your position as Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs, you are responsible for recruiting new staff members to the university. Can you say something about the procedure of the recruitment?
Yes. Well, I'm now in charge of 3 offices in GT. Is the Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs. I'm also the head of the research and also for entrepreneurship issues. So it's a big office, eventually doing 3 things at the same time. But the most important is faculty members, 100%. We need to hire excellent faculty members. And to do that, eventually, the procedure is as follows. So when a postdoc, he finishes his postdoc studies, he applied to us, and then he needs to give a seminar, and we get a feedback from the faculty members at GT and also here at the Technion about him.
The seminar at the moment is on Zoom, right? Through the computer, in most cases.
No.
Not necessarily.
Now we could invite him to give the lecture at the Technion.
At Technion, also in China.
Also in China, because China now is open.
Yeah.
So we're very happy that this happened. So that also gave opportunity to host the faculty member, the new faculty, the person that wants to be a faculty member with us. So we know him not just by the lecture, but also personally, social-wise, which is very important. And if everything fits, so we go for international letters. And then after we receive the letters, then we have what was called the promotion committee that I'm heading, and then we decide if he's fitting or not.
What type of letters? I mean, who do you send the letters to?
We will send the letters eventually is to partially to people that they know the candidate, but also to people that they are masters, the best people in the field in the world. Because we need to know that the people in the world, that they are the best one, they will able to say, this is a good candidate. This is a person that we need to hire because he will be a rising star with us.
It has the potential.
It has the potential
To be.
I would say he is already, but he has the potential. Anyway, after he starts, we will give him the facilities. Startup funds, he will give him good salary, he will get accommodation, he will have school for his children. We will give everything that is social and academic, a good lab.
Also, the spouse will be taken care of.
The spouse will help to get help, yes, indeed. And then he will need to do his work for 5 at 6 years. After 4 or 5 years, we will all the time looking how he's advancing, and if he's okay, he's publishing okay, he's giving lectures around the world, he's eventually able to get money from independent sources like a National Science Foundation of China. So we know that if you get funds, research funds, so your colleagues appreciate what you're doing. It's a very nice way to do that.
Also citations.
Citation, yes. And what we then go to the promotion committee, if a person meets all the requirements, then we will try to promote him to the level to get tenure and to get the next level, full professor. And we will go again for the same one. So he will give a talk. We will have the first committee. We will get the feedback from the faculty members now at GTIIT. And then we will send the letters. We will send the CV, how many papers, where he published, how is his impact, what is la crème de la crème of his research. And if everything fits okay, we will be more than happy to give him the full professor, because that's what we need. We need the person to succeed. We don't want to have someone that will not succeed. That's not for us. We want a person that he will rise as a star and will lead a program. He will be known as one of the best people, not in China, around the world.
I see. So you talked mostly about, or exclusively about the young staff members, but is GTIIT also recruiting older or more established researchers?
We are willing to hire anyone that is a good scientist. Because we are growing, we will need more and more faculty members, so eventually we will need people that will teach courses, that will open new research areas, so we always will be willing to hire also well-established faculty member already at the level of a full professor, medium as a level of associate professor, whatever we need, and if the person is good, we will go for it. So the most important for us is how good the candidate is, not what is his level.
All right, what about disciplines?
Chemical engineer, you have material science, and you have
biotechnology and food engineering.
Biotechnology and food engineer. Now we have mechanical engineer and chemistry that we open this year, chemistry. But then also we have, not as a full program, but we have faculty members, because this is just adjunct people. We have also mathematics, and we have on environmental and civil engineer, and in physics. So we are growing. Hopefully next year we'll have additional programs.
Yeah, the environmental engineering is going to join GTIIT probably next year, which in a way is a closure, because at the beginning this was the discipline that the Chinese wanted us to open, and we couldn't at the time.
It's extremely interesting for me to ask you the next question, because you said that you spent 2 years as a dean of undergraduate studies. So in the beginning, when you just start, when you came to visit and to teach, you were not afraid? And even after that, you decide to take the second year. What about your wife? What about your kid, the social life? Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so obviously when we planned at the beginning to go to China, and it wasn't my first time in China, but obviously the first time that I was going to spend a significant amount of time in China, we had our concerns. We went as a family, 5 persons. We didn't know to what we were getting. We didn't know exactly what my wife would be doing. We didn't know anything about the school. But I must say that, 2 or 3 days after our arrival in Shantou, everything went away. I mean, people were so nice. They gave us such a good welcome that everything dissipated in a few days, and we started working, and from there on we didn't look backwards anymore. It was, like I said before, a fantastic time. And it was very easy for me to decide to take the second year. First of all, I knew that I was needed there at the beginning, and Technion came towards me and allowed me to take a second sabbatical. My children were very content in the school. My wife had a job of her own, and she was very happy with it, and I think that the environment was very happy with her.
She was in charge of the social life of the campus, I remember that.
She was in charge of bringing in all of the new foreigners that were in the same position as we were 3 months before. And the social life at the university at the time was fantastic. Everybody was like a very united group of people. We celebrated Chinese festivals and Jewish festivals together. There were Israelis and people from Europe and people from Australia, New Zealand, and Americans, and a lot of Chinese and people from Korea, and all of us together. We were like 40 or 50 people, maybe 100 with the families, and it was a fantastic time. What can I say? I left just before the Corona started in 2019, and thereafter things changed. I know that for sure, and if you want me to think about something optimistic, I can say only that since we are after that, I think that the trajectory of the university will now become much better because of the very great difficulties that we had during the time of the disease. Moris, I understand that you are opening now an entrepreneurship program at GT. So if you can tell us anything about it, and also how does it work these days with all the issue of the corona disease, etc.
Well, eventually the program started a year ago. Now it's eventually 1 year. And what we're doing eventually is to bring the research that is being developed at GT into the IP, into the patents. Now, China has a very good way to do patents, which is different from the West, because you could do the regular patent, but also service patent that you could use for 3 years. But it's only service your university for the time that you're using it. And at the beginning, when we start doing this GTIIT, it's called, we thought that we will have a lot of problem with the corona because people will not come and our people will go out. Eventually, already in December, it started to get open, and since the
December 22
and the 8th of January this year, everything is open. So now we see people that they want to come, and now we go to the lawyers, and the lawyers come to us, and now we have patents, we have international patents, we have Chinese patents, a Japanese patent. So this is working very good. Corona is almost finished in China. Now we're very happy because that gave us two opportunities. One, to invite people to China, to GT, to give lectures that before we did by Zoom. So now we invite them, we keep them for 1 week. And also, if it's necessary, to the Technion. So this gives us also the collaboration between GTIIT and Technion, and also to allow leading people around the world to come to know GTIIT as a new university that we have dreams to do. And sometimes, it's not bad to ask people that they are already established, how you do this, how you follow that road. And they will come and they will teach us. And we will learn from that people. Because as a university, you always need to learn something new every day. So do you think there is, for a new faculty member that he wants to come to GTIIT, he needs to be worried about something?
No, the university is a very organized place. People are extremely nice, and as I said, the feeling of welcoming that she will be receiving upon arrival on the campus and in Shantou will be overwhelming. I can assure that, since I know the people who work there. And every measures are in place to make the landing smooth. There are procedures that the university developed over the years. They take the person, if he's not Chinese and doesn't know anything, doesn't know the language, doesn't know the routines there, they take him hand in hand from the airport, bring him to his apartment. Everything will be already ready there. The next morning they will take him to open a bank account, and then give him a SIM for his cell phone, bring him onto the classes to show him exactly how everything is being operated there. It's very, very smooth. The issue of laboratory and the research money is being determined beforehand. So he will know exactly to what he's coming. The laboratory will be already allocated for him. Most of the equipment will be already ordered. So it will take 2, 3, 4 months and everything will be ready for him to start recruiting people and start doing research. And normally also we do not give at the university the onus of teaching in the first semester. We allow people not to teach so that they can get settled in, and only in the second semester we start giving them teaching assignments. So the person has enough time to get settled in.
It's very interesting because now in my position, we continue what you just said, and we go lab by lab, and eventually we try to the new faculty members when they do research to tell them that they need to be aware of the IP, the intellectual properties. Mm-hmm. If they have something good, to do patents, to try to make the connection with companies. So the faculty member will also see that it's not just that building a lab, but he also will be able, we will help him to get the right connection and also to help him to write a proposal. And if he's from abroad and he doesn't know Chinese, we will translate the proposal for him. Mm-hmm. And we will review it before we send it to the fund agency so we know that we have a better chances.
So at the beginning you spent 6 months in China and you were alone. Can you say anything about how it is to be on campus in Shantou on your own?
Well, in the beginning I was afraid because I needed to teach 2 courses and I also was my own TA. I thought that I would not have time to do anything. I would be all the time teaching. Eventually it came out that working with the students was a great time. And I had plenty of time also to start my research. So China works also every day of the week. So I didn't travel on the weekend to other universities to give talks, open new programs, research programs. So for me, after 1 week, I was totally happy. I knew that I won't have enough time to do all what I need to do. And I wrote proposals. I did all what a faculty member, wrote papers, whatever faculty member will do. So it was a great time for me. And I would like to share with you something that it was very nice because I was in the beginning of 2018, but then I came back for 1 month in 2019. I left in December 2019, like 10 days before COVID started from China. And when I was in the 6-month sabbatical in 2018, we had a group of people that every week, every Saturday, we will go for dinner to eat something which is called
I remember very well one of these times.
Hot pot. And we did competition who eat the most hot food.
I remember my tongue becoming insensible to anything after eating that.
So that was a very nice social way to meet with the Chinese people and to really break all the difference levels. We were all one type for the good social time. And when I remember I came back in 2019, eventually everyone wanted to go again to do the hot pot. It was a great time. And I'm going back to China in about 3 weeks.
Me too.
For 6 weeks, and I'm already looking for my time there.
Tell me, what can you say about the quality of the students?
In the beginning, the first 2 years, the quality of the student was excellent. Then I was not really teaching, so I don't know about them. But now this last year that I'm again in position, and I heard from the last year, the quality is also going up and up. So we have good quality of students, and I hope it will get more and more. But we need to hire more students. This is to recruit more undergraduates.
Number-wise.
The number-wise, yes, it's very important for us.
Yeah, I also remember I taught chemistry, basic chemistry in my first 2 years, and then aquatic chemistry, water treatment processes, and at the beginning I was astonished by the quality of the students. They were fantastic. I mean, there was a problem of language, And also the issue that Chinese students tend not to speak in classes, because this is what they are taught at school, that when you ask questions only during the breaks or after classes, or I don't know. But this dissipated also throughout the semester, and I started getting questions from them. And obviously they would come to my office after hours, and I couldn't just go home. I mean, sometimes I would be there up until 8 in the evening because they would not leave. But I was, as I said, astonished by the quality. There were some students there that asked me questions that I needed to go and look up for answers in books. And we were talking about first-year students. I don't recall anything like this at the Technion at the same level. So it was challenging, I should say, but I was very happy with it. And most of these students, by the way, the first and second year students that I taught at the time, went off after finishing GTIIT and graduating with a degree. They went off to do a second degree in very prestigious universities all around the world. Actually, I think that 60% of them ended up doing a second and third degrees in the US, top 10 universities in Europe, in Oxford, and the like. It was, I would say, unbelievable. I mean, that kind of a percentage of students finishing from the same cohort doing graduate studies at that level, I don't think that there is any parallel to that I know of.
Yes, and eventually they also don't have any problem with language, because everything that they study at GT is in English.
Yes, in the second degree, you mean?
In the first degree.
In the first degree, it's in English. Some of them do have problems with difficulties with English.
Yeah, but they grow up with that.
At the beginning, the GTIIT emphasizes the teaching or the learning of English very much. I mean, there's a preschool studies before the first semester that they are given 100 hours of English, and then a lot of emphasis on the issue of English, understanding, being able to express yourself in writing and in talking orally. By the end of the fourth year, most of them speak the language very well. I agree.
What I did opposite. I eventually, also when I was in sabbatical, I went to study Chinese.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Because I thought it's important to try to,
So how is your Chinese now?
No. 谢谢. Thank you very much. Bukashu. You're welcome. Zaiqian, see you later. I know a few words, but I forget most of this stuff.
Yeah, it's not an easy language.
No. Ori, to end this, let me ask you something. What did you take from GTIIT? What is your feeling? What is your pronostics for GTIIT? And maybe, you start building something, maybe we're in the middle building something. So how do you put together all the time that you spend there and now that you are after Dean of Undergraduate there?
All right, so first of all, I think that establishing a new university takes time. And we are only, I'd say, at the middle of the beginning of the recruitment procedure. Eventually, GTIIT should be 300 staff members. We are less than half at the moment, even 1/3, I'd say, of that. So we still have time to go, another probably 6 years until we are fully established in terms of the amount of staff members that should be there, and also the programs, the study programs. Personally, I should say that I had the chance to be a part of a unique experience of the establishment of a new university from basically scratch, and I will take it with me as a great experience forever. Still, the university, as I said, is on its way up in terms of numbers, in terms of quality, and in terms of the new campus that is being built now. So it will take another 5-6 years, and if anyone wants to come, he will still feel the feeling of being a pioneer in a new university. It's not an established university. There is a lot of room of making changes at the moment, and therefore I think that for a staff member with a spirit of entrepreneurship, it's a fantastic place to be in.